Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, March 13th. So the moon is going to continue to be in Cancer, in its place of power. Of course, we've had a couple of very emotional days, and the moon will be going void, of course, around 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be moving into and locking into Leo energy around 3:30 p.m. So for the mid part of the day, things are going to be a little bit shaky. Things are going to be a little bit unstable, but we are moving into a higher vibration, a higher frequency. We are moving out of the nostalgic, kind of over-emotional, oversensitive type of energy that Cancer energy brings us. And we're going to get a little bit more bold, a little bit more passionate, a little bit more fired up in our heart space. There are 8 different aspects taking place here today, and 6 of them involve the moon. While the moon is still in Cancer, we are going to definitely gain a little bit more insight. We are having some very strong intuitive feelings. We are tapping into our higher selves, and the moon trining to Neptune is only going to drive that energy home that much more. Of course, we've spent the last couple of days looking back into the past, being very nostalgic, really recognizing where it is we've been overly attached to the old, even though we're trying to welcome in the new. And this particular energy is going to kind of zap us and give us a light and fluffy, more positive, more optimistic vibe about where it is that we're actually cutting the cord from the past and moving closer towards the future. The moon is going to be bumping into Uranus, and this Uranian energy helps shift our perspective. It shows us very clearly an aha moment on what it is that we need to do in order to express ourselves, in order to feel safe and secure in our emotions. This is also an aha moment on where it is that we need to break free from the past and create a little bit of a space where we have a little bit more independence and emotional freedom, especially in our home and family dynamics. The moon is going to sextile the true node, and this is helping us rework the past in order for us to make some new solid plans for the future. We've had some realizations. We know where we've been blocking ourselves. We know where we have to re-edit the storylines of the past to free our heart, to free our head. And in doing so, we land ourselves in this really interesting position where suddenly these new realizations are helping us snap together a logical and practical, intuitively backed path for the plans that we now have to make in order to move forward, in order to actually bridge the gap from where it is that we're at to where it is that we want to be. Now, Mercury goes ahead and bumps into Mars. Now, let me just put a disclaimer. Every single time that we take one step forward, every single time that we enlighten ourselves, that we are, raising our frequency and vibration, those darker force energies got to come back and really test us, really try to pull us back into that negative vibe. This is where we're going to be tested. Mercury bumps into Mars. This is a trigger. This is a trigger in the mental plane. It's a trigger in frustration, in anger. It's frustration because we are mentally burned out. We have Mercury in Pisces, which isn't making a whole lot of logical and practical sense to us. That, of course, many of us rely on the lower intellect of the logical, practical part of our brain to kind of make sense of things, to make plans moving forward. And Mercury being in Pisces, we have to kind of trust our intuition. And for many of us, that is a struggle. So Mercury bumping into Mars, who is now in Aquarian energy, this is like a zap in our mental plane. It's a zap in our actions because, Mars wants to move forward. He definitely wants to move forward in trying to put some of the pieces together, to build new foundations, to build new understandings, but we're not making sense of our current reality. This can put us in a situation where we can project our not so nice thoughts and feelings, our chaos and confusion onto other people, really creating a little bit of a rift, a little bit of a miscommunication, and it could be problematic if we're not in alignment and in an awareness of where these triggers are festering up for us. The sun goes ahead and bumps into Neptune. This is an annual meetup, happens once a year. This is where we get enlightened. This is where we align with our higher selves. This is where we get a vision and a dream that really kind of wakes us up in a way that we haven't felt in a very long time. This is where we have a new self-will, a determination to be better, to do better, to push ourselves forward. But let me tell you, as magical as this particular aspect is for us, anytime that we're given a beautiful opportunity to level up, to dream, to manifest those darker force energies, it does whatever it can to hold us back, to really muster out that high vibe frequency, preventing us from truly taking advantage of what this particular aspect is all about. So we are going to have to fight our inner demons, our inner narrative, the triggers coming from the external world that's trying to prevent us from aligning with our higher selves, for capturing that dream and vision, of course, because we're in this beautiful, beautiful window to manifest. The moon is going to sit across from and oppose Pluto. This is the last aspect that the moon is going to make before going void of course and making its way into this Leo energy. The moon in Cancer sits across from Capricorn energy that, of course, Pluto, the great transformer, is currently sitting in. Now, this is going to create a little bit of a conflict, a little bit of a tension point, but it is a tension point that is needed in order for us to boss up and to take control over the situation, over our thoughts, over our emotions. This is likely going to fester up a lot of the emotional doubts, the emotional insecurities that we're having. This can, ride off the coattails of the earlier aspects of triggering conversations, misunderstandings, especially with the feminine divine energy. Maybe the home, the family drama peaks at this particular point. We have a choice whether or not we are going to kind of revert back to reacting from ego, or whether or not we're going to see this as a challenge from the universe to say, I'm going to act as the observer. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to express myself in a different way. I'm going to come at this conversation, this conflict, from a empathetic, compassionate type of place and see if we can do things differently. This is when the moon goes void of course. Like I said, we have like about 4 or 5 hours where things are going to get shaky. Things are a little bit unstable, but we are moving out of that very sensitive, very intuitive water energy of the moon being in Cancer to a fire energy in our heart space, kind of making us bold and brave and courageous to do what it is that we need to do in order to move past this hurt, these wounds, these past attachments. When the moon actually moves into Leo, this is going to remind us of February 16th, when we had the full moon in Leo, when Mars and Venus conjunct under the full moon in Leo, reminding us of what it is that we had to let go of in our heart space, disappointment, fear, the walls that we've built up, keeping people out, even though we crave their connection. We really do kind of get a flashback of what it is that we're passionate about, what it is we currently desire, and where it is that we need to muster up the courage and bravery in order to actually push forward. The moon bumps into Mercury, and this is definitely going to help us get very clear on what it is that we need to do to get our heart and our head on the same page in order to move forward. This is also a beautiful opportunity for us to clean up the miscommunications that we likely would have had earlier. This is going to help us gain clarity on what it is that we actually feel, what it is we actually think. We're gaining clarity here. And we're also recognizing what it is that we need, what it is that we're lacking, what it is that we need, and of course, put us in a position to ask from others what it is that we're actually identifying that we need within that personal relationship. The moon is going to bump into Jupiter, and this is going to push us to be better. We want more for ourselves. We want results. We want to see the change. We want to see people take action. We want to see people meet us halfway. And caution, yes, great. It's good to really identify what it is that we're pushing towards, what it is that we want more of, but please do not get stuck in the mind state of recognizing what it is that we're currently lacking. We do not want to set up camp in the scarcity mindset, in the lack of mindset. We want to fuel this fire. We want to be brave. We want to be courageous. We want to push forward. We want to vocalize our needs, our wants, our desires, and we want to see other people meet us halfway.